Reviewing NHL evening games of November 23rd, 2018. Earlier today, maybe a couple of hours ago, I did the 6 matinee games. I reviewed those. Now we're going to do the 9 evening games. Let's get to the board. All right, so Columbus Blue Jackets beat the Toronto Maple Leafs 4-2. Side notes to start the game. Toronto has won 7-9, including a 4-2 win versus Columbus on Monday. Columbus's Atkinson, who got a goal in this game, has scored in 6 straight games with 8 points, with over 8 goals altogether. Excuse me. Toronto has 42 shots against on average in the past 4 games. So let's get to the scoring. Columbus hits the board first. Anderson with an O. Gets his 9th of the year, assisted by Jenner and Foligno. Columbus then goes up 2-0. Anderson gets his 10th of the year, his 2nd goal of the evening, assisted by Sedlock and Harrington. What's funny about this is Toronto's been outplaying Columbus really for most of the game, but especially in the first and the second. They've just made like odd miscues, and Columbus has pounced on them, and Toronto has not been opportunistic about their own chances. In any case, Toronto then makes it 2-1. Still in the first period, Hainsey gets a floater from the blue line that Bobrovsky doesn't see. That's his 3rd of the season, assisted by Lindholm and Ozhiganov. Ozhiganov, I believe that's his first point of the season. He's a New Leafs defenseman who just started this year from the KHL. We go into the second period. Toronto ties up the game. Kapanen, he's hot. Scores again, gets his 10th of the season, assisted by Kadri. And then Columbus goes ahead. They take the lead 3-2. Atkinson gets his goal short-handed. Ouch. This one hurt. His 14th of the season, assisted by Wenberg. In the third period, Columbus puts it away. Hannikainen gets his 2nd of the season, assisted by Panarin and Murray. Columbus goes 0-2 on the power play. Toronto goes 0-3. They haven't been too good on the power play in the last 2-3 weeks, I want to say. Bobrovsky saves 32 of 34, and again, it's odd. He didn't look confident all game. He was dropping pucks. He was giving up big rebounds. But he still saved 32 of 34. Anderson, maybe 1 or 2 goals he didn't look completely confident on, but he looked calm in the net. And anyways, he saved only 20 of 24. Columbus did not have many shots. Columbus is now 13-7-2 with 28 points. Toronto's now 15-8-0 with 30. They just slipped back into 3rd place in their division, and Buffalo just leapfrogged ahead of them in the 2nd, and Tampa Bay is still in 1st in the Atlantic. Next game, Vegas Golden Knights beat the Calgary Flames 2-0. Side notes, Calgary had a 3-game win streak snapped going into this game, and they beat Vegas in the last game they faced them, which was just on Monday, 7-2. And that was when Malcolm Subban was on that. In this game, Fleury gets the shutout and is in net for Vegas. Vegas's Miller gets his first goal since March of last season, also happening to be against Calgary. In any case, in the first period, no goals. Second period, Tuck gets his 6th of the season, assisted by Eakin and Pacioretty. Third period, Vegas makes it 2-0. Miller gets his 1st of the season on the power play, assisted by Smith and Tuck, who gets his 2nd point of the night. Vegas goes 1-for-3 on the power play. Calgary 0-for-1. Fleury makes 29 saves in the shutout. Riddick, who still has a decent game percentage-wise, saves 26 of 28. If you're not scoring, it doesn't really matter how well you do in that. Vegas is now 11-12-1 with 23 points. They're still holding on to hope that they might make the playoffs, maybe. It's early, still, sort of. It's Thanksgiving, so American Thanksgiving. Happy American Thanksgiving. Calgary is now 13-9-1 with 27 points. And they're still doing well. I believe they're still leading the Pacific right now. Next game, Tampa Bay Lightning beat the Chicago Blackhawks 4-2. No notes to start this game. To start the scoring in the first, Johnson gets his 8th of the season, assisted by Kucherov and Cernak, and that goal was scored 29 seconds in. Yeah. Johnson then gets his 2nd of the game to make it 2-0 for Tampa Bay. His 9th of the season, his 2nd of the game, assisted by Point and Kucherov, who gets his 2nd point of the game. Tampa Bay then goes ahead 3-0. Point gets his 15th goal of the season, his 2nd point of the game, assisted by Kucherov and Cernak, and Cernak gets his 2nd point of the game. Kucherov gets his 3rd point of the game. He had a really good night. Chicago makes it interesting. They score. This is still in the first period. I can't say this. Anisimov. There you go. Gets his 3rd of the season, assisted by DeBrincat and Schmaltz. And then Tampa Bay makes it 4-1. Still in the first, Callahan gets his 3rd of the season, assisted by McDonough. In the 2nd period, Taves gets his 11th of the season, assisted by Keith. In the 3rd period, no goals. Tampa goes 0 for 3 on the power play. Chicago 0 for 2. Dominique saves 30 of 32 shots. If you're in a fantasy pool and nobody's got this guy, I would grab him because Vasilevsky's going to be out for a bit yet. Crawford saves 25 of 29. He's still a little up and down. Tampa Bay is now 16-6-1 with 33 points. I want to say they lead the league in points, but that might be Nashville. Looking at my other board, no, they're tied for the NHL lead right now with 33 points. There you go. Chicago is now 8-10-5 with 21 points. Next up, the Boston Bruins beat the Pittsburgh Penguins 2-1 in overtime. First, there's my cat scratching at the door. He's killing the carpet. Stop killing the carpet. All right, in the first period. I'm sorry. Oh, wait. Let's go over some notes first. Pittsburgh's Malkin had a 5-game point streak going into this game. Yeah, and then Boston has now, after this game, has now won 3 straight at home. Let's start with the scoring. First period, no goals. Second period, I don't know if you can see. Yeah, there we go. Second period, Malkin. Pittsburgh gets on the board. First 1-0. Malkin, there you go. He extends his streak to 6 games. Gets his 9th of the season on the power play. Their power play is still lethal, even though they're not doing well. Assisted by Letang and Kessel. The usual suspects. Boston ties it up. In the same period, DeBrusk gets his 9th of the year, assisted by Krejci and Miller. Why do I have an asterisk on Miller? Because it's his first game back from injury. The third period, no goals. And in the overtime, Nordstrom scores. He gets his 4th of the season, assisted by Krug and Pasternak. Boston does not have a power play. None. Pittsburgh goes 1 for 2, obviously. Halak saves 36 of 37. He's been doing amazing with Tuukka Rask absent here. For Pittsburgh, Jarry is in net. He saves 35 of 37. He was a goaltender just recalled from the AHL because, of course, Murray has gone on the IR recently. Boston is now 12-6-4 with 28 points. Pittsburgh is 8-8-5 with 21 points. And that's it. Next game up, the Carolina Hurricanes beat the Florida Panthers 4-1. Some side notes. Florida, Luongo got hurt in the first period on the first goal with a lower body injury. He was grabbing one of his legs. I can't remember if it was left or the right. But anyways, Reimer stepped in right after that. Another note for Florida, Hoffman had his 17-game point streak snapped on this night. Let's start with the scoring. Martinook gets on the board first for Carolina, makes it 1-0. He gets his 5th of the year, assisted by Wallmark and Svechnikov. Over to the second period, where there are no goals. Third period, Martinook gets his 2nd of the game, assisted by Wallmark and Svechnikov. Usual suspects there. They get their 2nd assist. 2-0 Carolina. Now it's 3-0 Carolina. On the power play, Teravainen gets his 5th of the year, assisted by Aho. And then Florida decides they want to score a goal. They want to say something. Maybe they'll fight back. I don't know. They'll do something. Because Brouwer gets his 6th of the season, and assisted by Matheson. Sometimes you're hoping a joke will pop into your head, but nothing does. That's what just happened. So it's 3-1 Carolina. Now it's 4-1, and this is still in the third, but that's an empty net goal. Martinook gets a hat trick, gets his 7th of the year, assisted by Wallmark, gets his 3rd point of the night. Carolina is 1 for 2 on the power play. Florida's 0 for 1. McElhinney gets another win and has another great game, saving 34-35. I don't see him leaving. They're carrying 3 goaltenders right now. In addition to McElhinney, Peter Mrazek, and of course Darling, who I believe is injured for the short term, probably. But who are they going to waive? And how long are they going to carry 3 goaltenders for? Luongo saves 9 of 10 in this game before he gets injured. Carolina is now 11-8-3 with 25 points. They beat Toronto in their last game as well. Side note, Florida is now 8-9-3 with 19 points. I don't know what's going on with Florida. Luongo's hurt again. Trocheck, their second-line center, is out long-term. Are they going to challenge LA, lose for Hughes? Could be. We all thought they might be a playoff team, but it's Luongo's, this is the 2nd time, maybe 3rd, he's hurt. And Trocheck is a pretty big piece. So last game on the board here, Colorado Avalanche beat the Arizona Coyotes 5-1. Side notes to start, Arizona Ranta is back, their goalie, from injury. His last game was versus Carolina on November 2nd. And at that point, his goals against was 2.10, and he had a .929 save percentage. He was looking really good, but not in this game. Nope. He was... his numbers took a hit. Colorado side note... oh my God. Back after missing 16 games. Oh, yeah. Comfort. Who had a number of goals tonight, which we'll get into that, was back after missing 16 games. Let's get to the scoring. Comfort gets his 4th of the year, short-handed, assisted by Nieto. Comfort then makes it 2-0, gets his 5th goal of the season, 2nd goal of the night, unassisted, the 2nd short-handed goal on the same penalty kill. The same one. Yeah, you heard me right. Then Colorado makes it 3-0. A goal by Rantanen, still in the first period. Rantanen's 9th of the year, assisted by Landeskog. And these 3 goals for Colorado were scored in the span of 2 minutes and 11 seconds. It was that kind of night for Arizona. Second period, no goals. Third period, Colorado makes it 4-0. Barry gets his 3rd of the season, assisted by McKinnon and Cole. Arizona breaks the shutout. Strome gets his 3rd of the year on the power play, assisted by Perlini and Goligoski. I like saying that name. But Hinestrosa didn't have a point tonight. I really wanted to say that name. I think Arizona has my favorite pronunciation, my favorite players that I love to pronounce their last names. It's late. I'm tired. I'm not making much sense. Colorado then goes ahead 5-1. Landeskog gets his second point of the night, 14th goal of the season on the power play, assisted by Rantanen and McKinnon, who also got their second points of the night as well. Colorado's 1 for 5 on the power play. Arizona's 1 for 3. Grubauer, who's in it for Colorado, saves 37 of 38. He had a really good night. Ranta, 34-39. Colorado is now 12-6-4 with 28 points, and Arizona is now 9-10-2 with 20 points. That's it for this board. I'm just going to get the second board so we can do the last 3 games here. Welcome to the second board. Okay, St. Louis Blues beat the Nashville Predators 6-2. That was a bit surprising when I saw that. I didn't catch any of this game. I forgot to tell you which games I did catch. I caught the Toronto game. I caught the parts of the Boston-Pittsburgh game. What else did I catch? I caught parts of the Philly and New York Ranger game earlier today. I caught a bit of the Colorado-Arizona game. Blah, blah, blah. Who cares? All right. So notes on the St. Louis-Nashville game. Nashville's... for Nashville, regarding Turris, Shen had a late cross-check on Turris, and then Turris left the game, and no penalty was called on the play. I believe that was early in the first, and he never came back, so not good news for Nashville. He's their second-line center? Yeah. For St. Louis, they had 16 hits in the first period. There was 2-3 fights in this game, including right off the bat in the first period. Shen being one of them. He had a Gordie Howe hat trick, which is of course a fight, a goal, and an assist. These two teams, Berube, the St. Louis coach, who took over from Mike Yeo, who was fired. Berube is still the intern, but in any case, he was interviewed before the game, and he said there was some animosity there left over from when they played them this past Wednesday, and Nashville won 4-1, and he totally called it because there was 2-3 fights in the game, lots of hits, as I said. Let's get to the scoreboard. St. Louis scores first. Barbashev gets his second of the season, assisted by Schmaltz. St. Louis then makes it 2-0. O'Reilly scores his 11th of the year, assisted by Blaise? Blah? Yeah, and Peter Angelo. Then Nashville makes it 2-1 for St. Louis. Bonio scores his 3rd of the season on the power play, assisted by Ekholm and Johansson. St. Louis then goes ahead 3-1. Shen gets his 5th of the season unassisted. And then we move to the second period where St. Louis continues the scoring. Sanford gets his 4th of the season, assisted by Riley, his 2nd point of the night, and Tarasenko. Fabry then makes it 5-1, getting his 2nd of the season. He's finally getting on the board, assisted by Thomas. Third period, St. Louis makes it 6-1. They just beat up on Nashville today. It was so strange to see such a good team take such a beating. Peter Angelo got his 4th of the season, his 2nd point of the night. Shen and Thomas got their 2nd points of the night by getting the assists. And then Nashville makes it 6-2. And Hartman gets the goal, his 6th of the season, assisted by Fiala and Ham Hughes. St. Louis goes 0-2 on the power play. Nashville goes 1-3. Allen saves 26 for 28. He was solid tonight. Rene saves 18 of 19. I want to say, obviously Saros started the game, and Rene came in at some point and only let in 1 goal. So I guess Rene came in to start the 3rd. That would make sense. Next game, Dallas Stars beat the Ottawa Senators 6-4. Side note about Ottawa, they've given up over 4 goals a game, the highest in the league. Also, highest in the league, they've given up the most shots in the NHL as well. They're a high-scoring team, but they also let in a lot of goals. But let's start with the scoring. Ottawa gets on the board first. Zingle gets his 10th of the season, assisted by Ryan and Shabbat. Dallas ties it up. Ben gets his 8th of the season, assisted by Sagan and Radulov. Second period, Ottawa goes ahead 2-1. Kachuk gets his 7th of the season on the power play, assisted by Shabbat and Ryan, their second points of the night. Dallas then ties it up. Heiskanen gets his 3rd of the season, assisted by Radulov, his second point of the night, and Janmark. Dallas then, still in the second, they go ahead. They make it 3-2. Fedun gets his 1st of the season, assisted by Shore and Heinz. And on to the third, where Dallas sort of runs away with it. They make it 4-2 by Heiskanen. Gets his 4th of the season, his 2nd of the game, assisted by Janmark and Shore, who get their second points of the night. Then they make it 5-2. Como gets his 2nd of the year, assisted by Lindell and Dickinson. Ottawa starts to make it interesting. So where are we? We're at 1, 2. We're 2, 4. We're at 5-2. Lajoie makes it 5-3. He gets his 6th of the season, assisted by Duchesne. And then it's 5-4. I wish I had watched this game. Smith gets his 4th of the season, assisted by Ryan, gets his 3rd point of the night, and Duchesne, who gets his 2nd. And then Dallas puts it away. Bayreuther gets his 1st of the season unassisted to make it 6-4. Dallas goes 0-3 on the power play. Ottawa 1-3. Hudobin makes 29 saves on 33 shots. He does pretty decent. Another possible fantasy pool pickup. Anderson makes 48 of 53 shots. Saves 48 of 53 shots. If he's doing this like every other night, what? Yeah. Anyways, Dallas is now 13-9-2 with 28 points. I believe they're sitting for one of the last or second to last places for the playoffs at the moment. Ottawa is now 9-12-3 with 21 points. Not nearly as bad as some people thought they would be. Next game up, San Jose Sharks beat the Vancouver Canucks 4-0. First period. Side notes. Vancouver has lost 7 straight. And that streak is tied for the second longest losing streak this season. San Jose, side note, Thornton in this game. Thornton passes Lemieux on the all-time assist list with 1,034. And he's 6 away from the number 10 spot on the all-time assist list where Marcel Dion sits at. Scoring. San Jose gets on the board in the first. Couture gets his 8th of the season on the power play, assisted by Carlson and LeBlanc. San Jose then makes it 2-0. Mir gets his 13th of the season on the power play, assisted by Thornton and Burns. I believe that's where Thornton passed Lemieux. Second period, no goals. Third period, Carlson gets his 2nd point of the night, a goal. His 2nd of the season on the power play, assisted by Thornton and LeBlanc, who both get their 2nd assists on the night. Thornton moves a little bit closer to Marcel Dion there. And then San Jose makes it 4-0. A goal scored by Melker Karlsson. No relation to Erik Karlsson. Gets his 1st goal of the season, assisted by the real Karlsson? Erik Karlsson, who gets his 3rd point of the night. He has sort of a breakout game here. And Dillon, assisted by Dillon as well. Vancouver goes 0-3 on the power play. San Jose goes 3-5. Nielsen makes an appearance. He saves 20 of 24. Dell saves 19 shots. Vancouver only got 19 shots on that. And he got the shutout with that. Vancouver is now 10-14-2 with 22 points. San Jose is now 13-7-4 with 30, and they're tied for, I want to say, for second, third in the league. I know Toronto's got 30 points as well. So, in any case, games for tomorrow. Games for Saturday, November 24th, 2018. 11 games. Not as many as the 23rd, where almost everyone was playing. There's 15 games. But let's get to who's doing what here. San Jose Sharks versus the Vegas Golden Knights. The Vancouver Canucks face the LA Kings. That may be an interesting game. Two teams that are kind of been sliding a lot lately. Next up, Washington Capitals versus the New York Rangers. Boston Bruins versus the Montreal Canadiens. Carolina Hurricanes versus the New York Islanders. The Winnipeg Jets versus the St. Louis Blues. Winnipeg's coming off a couple losses, and St. Louis is coming off a big win against Nashville. That should be an interesting game, but it could be, you would think Winnipeg would take that, but we'll see. They're both playing back-to-back games. So Buffalo Sabres versus the Detroit Red Wings. Columbus Blue Jackets versus the Pittsburgh Penguins. Philadelphia Flyers versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. Toronto will most likely have Sparks in net for this one, their backup goalie. So it's really important that he has a good game, because even though he's 3-1, he's only played 2 pretty good games so far. So he still has to prove himself to Mike Babcock. Next up, Chicago Blackhawks versus the Florida Panthers. And final game here, the Dallas Stars versus the Colorado Avalanche. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions on today's games. If you like this video, hit that like button. If you really liked it, smash that subscribe button if you haven't already. And if you know any hockey geeks, have any pals out there, please don't feel shy about sharing. Thanks again, and I'll see you soon.